Attorney Drake, I don't know if you need any more specific.
You might want to have a little
line
more
items.
specificity and just unpack, you know?
So one of the things I want to talk about is community engagement and civility.
I think that's good, that's specific there.
Okay.
All right, so there's a motion to amend the agenda from Commissioner Fisher, a second from Commissioner Taylor. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries, and the agenda is amended. So Commissioner Fisher, I'll give you 3 minutes.
I got 3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. This may take a little bit longer than 3 minutes. But anyway, we had a meeting yesterday with Manager Williams, myself, and Mayor Pro Tem Thornton. And one of the things that that's been bothering me, and you know, we at our last voting meeting, and I didn't say anything. And sometimes it's good to be quiet and to listen. And some of the things that's been on my heart and on my mind is I'm very disturbed by how divided this particular community is right now over things that have happened in our community. And we as leaders and as elected officials, we need to start the healing process. And what that may look like, you know, moving forward, and what our community expects from us. And one of that, I think, healing process is accountability. You know, when I talk to people in my constituents, or even around people at church and in the grocery store, they don't trust our government. They don't trust us, and that's bad. That our community don't have any trust in what we do. I would like to read something that Manager Williams said that I could share. And it talks about the disintegration of community civility. The state of respect, polite behavior within the community has produced obvious and subtle conflicts that affect how local governments can move the agenda forward and make progress. There are issues that have manifested themselves in polarization that contribute to the heightened tension that makes constructive dialogue difficult. The rise of online communication has introduced new challenges to community civility by providing platforms that can sometimes seem to encourage animosity, cyberbullying, and the spread of decisive rhetoric, impact the overall tone of community interaction. The diverse community also have individuals with various cultural backgrounds, beliefs, and values. While diversity can enrich a community, it may also lead to clashes if not managed with respect and understanding. Apathy, disengagement from community affairs can contribute to a decline in stability. When people feel disconnected from their community or believe their voices are not heard, they may be less motivated to contribute positively. And I say all that to say we got to do a better job than what we have done in the past. And I've stated this before, and we got to be on the same page. We can't be in shallows where people are making decisions that's impacting this whole community. If we can't talk to one another, if we can't sit down and have a conversation, hey, I think we can do this, then it defeats the purpose. You know, why are we here as elected officials? You know, we can't, you know, we was elected to do a job by the people. We don't need to be doing things on our own that we think is right, and we don't involve the people that we represent. I went home after that meeting defeated. And I actually thought about resigning because I felt like, you know, how can we continue to operate in this environment if we have a community that don't trust us? So I say to my colleagues, we got 2 years, and I think we're at a crossroad. If we don't get this ship moving in the right direction, then we're going to go down a very bad hole, in my opinion. So I say to the Mayor, thank you for giving me that opportunity, but there's some things we got to unpack, and we got to be better stewards of what we do and how we handle our business. Thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner. And I think if you look at communities, certainly around the state, around the country, and around the globe, you know, these are the same kind of challenges that all of our peers are facing, in part because of those sort of changes in communication tactics that you identified there in that piece. You know, certainly we're in an environment now where people get their information from so many different portals that there aren't sort of common means of understanding kind of the common facts of people's experience. So, I mean, it's added to probably, it was already just a challenging human dynamic as people come from different walks of life. So I appreciate you bringing that to us.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Mayor, and I'm gonna say it's respectful though. But sometimes we make decisions though that don't have anything to do with what's going on in public. But we make decisions that's gonna impact our community, and then we have to find out through other means, and that's not how we should govern. Everything that we do, we should do it as a team. And we do that, and you know, I played football, and if one person got out of line and didn't do their assignment, it messed up the whole play. So if we're not on the same team, and people got their own agendas going on, and we can't get our work done. So you're right, those things that happen, but we cause some of those problems, and we need to correct those things. So that's why I say it's critical over our next 2 years, how are we gonna govern? Are we gonna work together? And are we gonna make a difference and let people get confidence back in this government? Because right now it's not there. And if anybody on this commission think it is, then you must be sleeping on a rock. Because I know what people say to me on both sides. They don't like us. And I don't like, you know, and we ain't perfect. We can't be perfect. But we're not well liked by our community. And we need to do something about that. And it's up to us to do it, though. But we can't do it in shallows. We got to do it as a team. You know, we ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life.
Commissioner Myers?
Yeah, Commissioner Fisher, I appreciate you bringing that up, and I'm going to ask you for some more clarification on that, because it's not quite clear to me, like, what you're referring to specifically amongst the group here, or or if there are suggestions for moving forward. You know, one of the things that I've been challenged with as well, you know, thinking about the commission as a team, we're not quite a team, because we do represent different points of view at times. And I think the challenge there is to do so respectfully and thoughtfully. And that's, you know, what I try to do. I might not succeed all the time, but that's what my attempt to do. So are there any specific actions you're asking for, or are there specific situations that you're talking about?
I can name several.
Okay.
If you like. So the mayor sent us an email some months ago about the ceasefire. He sent to all the commissioners. Well, somebody within this commission forwarded his email to that group, and they came back after us. I think when things like that come from the mayor, he shares that with us. It should stay within our confines. Now, if somebody do an open records request, that's different. But those things like that should not be passed along. And again, and Mayor, now, I don't want to be disrespectful to you, but same thing on the TAD stuff. The mayor made a decision that initially downtown should be 70%, and East Athens was 30. That shouldn't have been the decision he made. Same thing with Beechwood and Alps. Those decisions should not have been made by the mayor. This should have been made by us. And then I guess, and the last thing for me, this immigrant thing. You know, and I know this happened before I got on the commission, you know, I truly believe this is going to create a problem for us, regardless that we got the State Department involved and other folks. We already got a housing crunch. If we bringing in 300, I'm not sure what that number is, from outside, where are we going to house those folks? And we got people here that already need housing. And so what you're going to run into, you got to have people that may come in, they may get housing first. So do they move up to the front of the line? I don't know. But again, we can't operate like that. Something that big that's going to impact this community, the commission at that time should have been notified and said, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And that didn't happen. So again.
And Commissioner, I appreciate the specificity that you offer, and I'd offer some perspective to provide some detail that may not be commonly available when it comes to potential modifications of any tax allocation district or any allocation. The reason that things are on an agenda through an agenda setting cycle and then a prospective voting cycle is exactly so that this body can weigh in on that and either decide, hey, we want to spend some more time on this, we want to do it exactly as proposed, or not do it at all. So that's exactly the purpose for a deliberative legislative body. In regard to kind of immigration activity, one of the things that kind of frequently happens when you're the lead legislative officer is outside providers, in some cases, folks who in social services around food distribution, in some cases, people who may be applying for funds to do an outdoor activity, and in some cases, and very specifically here, a State Department designated provider who said, we want to bring a few dozen families to town and support them. They come just looking for a letter of reference. And so in that case, as I do really many dozens of times throughout the year, I provided a letter of reference, knowing, of course, that they were talking about the scale of, again, a few dozen families in a community that generally sees a population increase on the order of about 1,000 people per calendar year. So kind of knowing that that was a small proportion of what would be an overall continued increase in population. If you look at the circa 2000 census, about 102,000 people, and today about 130,000. Again, somewhere around the order of 1,000 people a year. Relatively small fries in the grand scheme of things.
Well, I think those are semantics, and I get it, but I think the bottom line is for me is I still think that's something that should have been shared, and I don't know what those numbers are. I mean, you say a few families, but is it really a few families? I'm hearing now it may be close to 100 people. Again, I don't know that. I don't think we know that. I think, but the bottom line, what I'm trying to get to, Mayor, is share information. And I know, when I looked at the email, I know it was one of your bubbles up that you had put on there. But what didn't say the bubble up, that you was going to do a letter or recommendation for them to possibly look at Athens, Clarke County government. And again, the way housing is in this community, even with those that few number of people, you still got to find somewhere to house those folks. And you're right, when people come in, a lot of time when people come in, especially if they're young professionals or whatever, they come for jobs, a little bit different because they're going to probably hopefully be able to find housing. But when we're bringing people in from war-torn countries, we're dealing with mental health issues, we're dealing with language issues, we're dealing with a lot of stuff. So it's more than just, adding to how many people come in. There's a lot more. And so I just think that the only thing I ask Mayor is to share information with us.
Right.
And don't, because see, you may not hear what we hear in the community. That's why, I've came to you on several cases, hey, Mayor, this is what's going on. And I'm not coming to you just to be flapping my mouth. I'm saying, hey, this is what's happening. This is what I'm hearing from the community.
I think you correctly observed that we all are in different spaces and we're going to hear different things. I would identify that we've been hearing from employers for many, many years that they have the supply of employee crunch, and the State Department has been really specific in their engagement to say, we're bringing people in who are looking for work, who are qualified employees, who've got pretty strong skills, might have some language challenges and those kind of things, but their vetting process is very strong and very detailed. So I want everybody to know that, we're not talking about, the first 10 people that were swooped up off the field of a foreign land. We're talking about people who went through a very strong screening process and are getting a lot of direct eyes on them from the federal government and then their nonprofit provider as well.
And I get that. I know they're vetted very well. But again, I think, though, if you don't hear anything I say, just think about the impact it's going to have on the community. That's all I ask.
Appreciate that. Commissioner Houle?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this. I mean, I appreciate my colleague speaking from the heart on what's on his mind. But I also want us to be careful that when we're up here, I think a lot about how the manager has said to me since before I was on this commission, our words really carry a lot of weight. And when we hear perceptions in the community, which I hear plenty of too, about people not trusting this body or people on it, if we're not careful about how we go about these discussions and being specific about what our concerns are, I feel like we can reinforce some of those perceptions rather than counter them. So speaking to the three specifics that were brought up, I just, from my perspective, want to share that. I don't know which email was being referenced with regard to a draft of a resolution, but I'll offer that anytime a constituent asks me for something that I've got in my inbox, I just forward it. I don't feel like that needs to be an open records request. If it's not attorney-client privileged, it's a public record. I'm not going to send them to the attorney's office to get my email. Regarding the mayor's initiation on the TADs being inappropriate, I mean, when I first saw that on the agenda, I was struck. I didn't particularly like it. I had a bunch of questions. I fired off in an email about it before our meeting. We all had a lot of questions, but to the mayor's point, that's why it was on our agenda. And clearly, we all had a lot of questions. We didn't like it. It's not something we've moved forward on as a result. So recognizing that the mayor has agenda-setting powers and that for him to put anything on the agenda, he has to take some kind of initial action first, I don't see that as an inappropriate first step because it gave us the opportunity before anything was done to say no or to change it, which we did. And then similarly with the refugees letter, another thing that the mayor is empowered to do is say things on behalf of the government as our mayor and to send letters to people who want them. And so I don't really see it as inappropriate that he said something supportive, especially when we as a body did formally say that we want to be a welcoming community to people from all over. And legal refugees coming here who are fleeing intense situations of violence are people that I think we should welcome. And regardless of what I think about it, I think that the mayor's action in responding to a request for a reference letter was appropriate. So at least for the three things raised up, I don't really see anything inappropriate there, although I do appreciate that they all kind of touch upon the need for us to maybe as a body figure out how to better communicate with each other in between the public meetings that we have. And to that end, I think maybe rather than having this on-the-fly discussion in a budget meeting, we'd be better suited to have it in a retreat or something where we can really hash out the details and know in advance that that's what we're coming to talk about. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn if there's nothing else
Go
for
for
the
it,
body.
Tiffany. If I might, Commissioner Myers mentioned earlier,
Oh, no.
Commissioner Myers mentioned earlier about ARPA, and I just want to remind everybody that I think we've got a retreat scheduled for May the 3rd on the books. That's a Friday. And so if you're so inclined, we can give you information before then, but that might be a good time to kind of talk about the rest of the year and what we got planned. So if you agree with that, we'll make that one of the agenda items, Mayor.
Be good.
Patrick has his hand up.
Can we get, you had asked us questions for Big Rocks. Can I get a look at what the, employee pay at 4% for current employees and no, can I
No
get
pay
the
tables.
numbers for 7%?
Yes.
Like similar to what we did last year?
Actually, what I'll do, I'll give you the number for every percentage increase, and then you can do it, you can flex it however you want. That's closer to what HR was recommending in the beginning.
And service delivery is really big for this community. I think when it comes to trash and trash pickup, did we ever fill those positions from the last year budget for the extra litter crew?
Let me ask the warden, I know we were waiting on the truck before we got them going in earnest. We got the folks, it was just whether we deployed them or not. Let me find out about that, Commissioner Davenport, I'll get back to you.
And what else? I think that's all I have.
Commissioner Thornton?
I don't know how we came from and then back to the budget, but I'm going back over here. We changed the agenda. We voted to change the agenda.
I think I thought of something late that Commissioner Myers had brought up
Okay,
about
and then that's how we do. So I'm
Sorry.
going back to what we changed the agenda to. And I think the only thing that Commissioner Fisher is saying is for us to find a way that we are more transparent, not with just ourselves, but the community. And maybe some of us don't go to the same barbershop, maybe we don't go to the same church, but wherever we go, we should have the same message. There should not be one thing being said and none of us don't know what the heck is going on. So I appreciate you, and what I've learned from this commission, you got to get in where you fit in. There's no place for us to have these kind of open conversations, and then you say we're going to wait for a retreat. Retreat may be 8 months down the line. There's no way to get some of these feelings out unless you stick it in somewhere. And I think that that's what Commissioner Fisher was trying to do. I don't even think there was a condemnation about what was done and what wasn't done. I think he was just bringing out some things that we could do better because people are talking, and I'm not going to take, I do enough stuff all by myself. I don't need to be taking nobody else's heavy load, okay? So I just wanted to get that clear, that I think it was appropriate because the agenda was changed. He made a statement. Commissioner Myers asked him to be specific. He was. And so it wasn't a good, bad, up or down or ugly. It was what we were in line to do.
Well, and I'll say, I'm very excited at the prospect of additional kinds of conversations. This work is not easy. It is complex. We're in a shifting world. I think we've all found times when kind of the format of our monthly cadence doesn't meet our individual needs or community needs. I think that's fair to say.
That's fair to say.
All right.
Can we adjourn?
Is there